All right, so we've got the boot fit profile started. We've got the personal information from the consumer. We're now going to start measuring their foot. In this case, we've got Ryan with us. He's barefoot. We're going to get him measured. We're going to talk about socks at this point as well with the consumer. No matter if they're barefoot or wearing an athletic sock or even have a ski sock, this is an opportunity for us to make sure they're in the right product for the new ski boots and snowboard boots that are on the market. So basically, we're going to get regular Brannock, our ski boot Brannock. We'll get a measurement seated and then standing on the right foot, if you'd stand up for me. So we've got both those measurements. We're going to put those down here. All right, and then we're going to get a measurement of the other foot. We'll have to sit down again. Again, left foot. And then stand up for me. All right, so in Ryan's case, his foot grows about a half size. So that's something to be aware of, so that we're going to have a footbed conversation. We can do that. Okay, you can take a seat for me. The other thing we're going to do in this situation is, because it's a ski boot, we're going to get a Mondo size on both feet. And stand up for me. And just that left foot. And if you could sit down for me. And you can keep your foot right on there one more time, sorry. Perfect, thank you. And that's how we get the measurements, guys. Make sure we write them down on our boot fit profile. All right, guys, we're going to start working with the measurements on the boot fit profile now. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to have a discussion with the consumer of what we need them to do to get the correct measurement. So we'll start with a seated measurement. We'll start either on right or left, whatever we're comfortable with, but have that conversation with your consumer first so that the expectation is there. And you can sort of tell the customer what you need them to do and how you need them to be positioned. So we're going to get the Brannock down. We'll put the right foot on. Keep the consumer seated at this point. There's an arch slider on the side. We'll get that up to the ball of the foot. Get a measurement there. At unweighted, basically we'll use the arch length and the width to just slider to get his width on this product, and we'll also get his unweighted US size. We'll put that on our boot fit profile. So in this case, an unweighted right is a size 10 with an arch length of 10.5 and a width of C. So a pretty narrow foot. We're looking at the foot at this point. We're having a consumer conversation that this is a pretty low volume foot, so we're going to have a narrower, lower profile boot. Basically, at this point, we'll ask the consumer to stand up. We'll take a look at what changed in the foot. In this case, it basically stayed as a C width, but is a 10.5 length on the US scale now. So the arch is going to collapse a little bit when most people stand up and give us a little more length in a foot, sometimes a little more width. So these things we want to watch what's occurring right in front of us. Use our eyes as a great tool in this situation. We'll have the customer sit back down. We'll basically slide that arch tool forward because we know it's going to be similar. Get that lined up again. Take a look at the unweighted, in this case, is 10.5 on this left foot. And again, we'll look at the arch length, which is an 11 on this foot. And you're going to be real narrow, probably an A width. So again, we'll have that conversation with the customer. You got a narrow foot. We're going to look for something that's going to hold you really well. We're going to have a ski sock conversation with this customer and make sure they're in the appropriate sock. Socks really control moisture on the foot. It's the boot that keeps them warm. So we want to have the right conversations with our customers. And if we can get you to stand up and just take a look at what changes. So again, half size of growth and some width change here. This foot changes a little more. So we go out to an 11 and a B width, so it did get a little bit wider, but not very wide still. And then sit back down for us. In this case, we'll be working with a ski boot, so let's take a look at the Mondo point size. Unweighted on the right was 27. We want to look straight down over, make sure the consumer's knee is kind of over their midfoot, and we're looking right down on the toes. So between a 27, 27.5 on that foot, and then we'll just look at the left real quick. So again, 27.5, we'll have our customer stand up for us. We'll take a look at weighted on both here. We're not looking at the width as much on this one because it's just the Mondo point scale. So a little over 27.5, we'll just take a look at that right for me. And again, about 27.5. So we've got all the measurements. We want to make sure we write all that down, arch length, width, your US size, and your Mondo. That way when we go out back to look at boots, we're picking from the right piles. All right, so we went through the process of getting all those measurements, putting them down on our boot fit profile. That was pretty mechanical just to show you guys how that works. During that process, when we're working with the consumer, we're having a conversation or continuing a conversation about sort of the expectations of what the new boot's going to do, whether they want to advance as a skier or a snowboarder, you know, what they're skiing or snowboarding on now. Those are all important things that we're talking about to make sure that we're getting the consumer in the appropriate product, and we're setting the expectation of what this new product's going to feel like when they put it on. We want to make sure that, you know, we tell them, hey, you measured 27.5, we're going to put you at a 27.5, your toes are going to touch the end, we're going to get you into an athletic stance, we're going to have you flex forward, your toes are going to draw back. And that's true of a ski or a snowboard boot. And we want to make sure we get them in the right size, but we want to have that conversation so that the consumer knows to expect what they feel they can translate back to us. And this is where that partnership or teamwork comes into play. And one thing I always tell consumers is I can get them in the right length and right width and right volume boot, but they need to tell me what they're feeling because my foot's not in there. And the more information we can get back from our customers, the better we're going to be at fitting their boot and the better experience they're going to have in our stores and on the hill.